Black Mage has had changes that attempt to address something that has been sorely lacking from Shadowbringers Black Mage: a lack of huge and flashy explosions. Have you ever felt upset that you still have to use your tiny level 1 fire at max level? Well then, Endwalker is here for you. Firstly, Enochian is now an active trait, so no more dropping Eno-chan. Freeze has been changed to a spell that can only be used after you're in Umbral Ice, and it still gives 3 Umbral Hearts. Foul has been made into an instant cast to match up with Xenoglossy, and Sharp Cast now has 2 charges. Some of the old spells have also received upgraded versions. Fire 2 has been upgraded to High Fire 2 and has had some of its effects changed. Fire 2 and High Fire 2 both give Astral Fire 3 upon execution. High Fire 2 also has an additional effect. Each time you use it, you get a stack of the Enhanced Flare buff, which can go up to 2 stacks. Whenever you have this buff, the potency of Flare is increased. Besides that, Blizzard 2 has received an upgrade to High Blizzard 2. These spells both give Umbral Ice 3. It is likely that the Black Mage AoE rotation will change due to these adjustments. In terms of new skills, the first one is called Amplifier. This is an ability that gives the Black Mage a stack of Polyglot, which can be used to cast Foul or Xenoglossy, and is available every 120 seconds. The new level 90 spell is Paradox. To use this spell, you need to have the Paradox buff, which can be gained when you swap from Astral Fire to Umbral Ice, or the other way around, with 3 stacks of Umbral Heart. The effect of Paradox changes depending on which stance you are in. Where you're in Astral Fire, Paradox replaces Fire, refreshing the duration of Astral Fire and giving a chance of getting a Fire Starter proc. When you're in Umbral Ice, Paradox replaces Blizzard 1, costing no MP and refreshing the duration of Umbral Ice. I'm no Black Mage main, but I think this spell seems to be designed to fix the multiple issues with Black Mage. In its Astral Fire form, it looks like it's to ensure that the no Fire 1 rotation is not optimal, reducing the difficulty of playing Black Mage optimally. In its Umbral Ice form, it seems designed to reduce the impact of MP ticks before switching back to Astral Fire, as it costs no MP. It is a nicely designed spell that helps elevate multiple issues at once. The Black Mage changes seem to be shining a light on lesser used spells and abilities. A theme of Shadowbringers Black Mage was that many spells were not used at level 80, but these have received changes. Fire 2 and Blizzard 2 have received upgrades to make them useful in AoE, while Fire and Blizzard got upgraded to Paradox. Overall, the job has received quality of life improvements and many new flashy explosions, and it's gonna be a bit weird to say, but I'm quite interested in trying Black Mage in Endwalker. Summoner is completely different, and it's basically a bonus job added to Endwalker. All signs of dots have been removed and most actions have been combined into a single spell, so your hotbar will look extremely empty compared to what we have now. A lot of things got added and removed, so here's a quick overlook at what we currently have. There are quite a few general changes to the job. Energy Drain and Energy Siphon now gives a further Ruin effect that lasts for 60 seconds, allowing you to use Ruin 4 once. The somewhat finisher skills like Death Flare have been combined into a skill called Astral Flow. You also get 2 skills called Gem Shine and Precious Brilliance. Whenever you summon a Primal, they will give you a few stacks of Attunement. Using those, you will be able to execute either Gem Shine, which will primarily be for single target, or Precious Brilliance for AoE. It also replaces the skill names into Right or Catastrophe respectively, which I will talk about more in a bit. With all of that shiny new buttons on every summon, you might think that Carbuncle is kinda useless, but don't worry, he's still a good boy. Radiant Aegis creates a barrier around self that absorbs 20% HP that lasts for 30 seconds and has 2 charges. Searing Light is sort of like Devotion, but it is now 120 seconds and increases damage dealt by self and party members by 3% for 30 seconds. I'm gonna be talking about Bahamut and Phoenix both at the same time because they are somewhat similar. Firstly, Summoner mains will be very happy to know that both of them no longer follow you around. However, they have to deal damage to a target first before they stay in place. Ruin 3 will get replaced by Astral Impulse or Fountain of Fire, and both of them do not have cast times. Tri-Disaster will also get replaced by the AoE variations named Astral Flare or Brand of Purgatory, both of which have no cast times as well. As mentioned earlier, Astral Flow is your finisher button, so that's where Death Flare and Rekindle goes. Lastly, summoning either Bahamut or Phoenix will allow you to summon the Primals, Garuda, Ifrit, and Titan. You can only use each Primal once per cycle until you summon either Bahamut or Phoenix again to reset the timers. Now we will talk more about the Primals. Summoning Garuda will cause it to cast Aerial Blast, a 700 potency AoE with 60% drop off. Gemshine will now be Emerald Light, and Precious Brilliance will now be Emerald Catastrophe. Garuda also grants 4 stacks of Wind Attunement, which can be used for either Emerald Light or Emerald Catastrophe, both of which do not have a cast time. Besides that, Astral Flow will be replaced by Slipstream, a 430 potency AoE with a 65% drop off. It also has a 30 potency dot effect to any enemy standing in a circle, lasting for 12 seconds. Summoning Ifrit will cause it to cast Inferno, another 700 potency AoE with 60% drop off. Gemshine will now be Ruby Light, and Precious Brilliance will now be Ruby Catastrophe. Ifrit grants 2 stacks of Fire Attunement, which again can be used for either Ruby Light or Ruby Catastrophe. Both of these skills do have a cast time. Astral Flow will be replaced by Crimson Cyclone, a 430 potency AoE with 65% drop off and also happens to be a gap closer. Lastly, Summoning Titan will cause it to cast Earthen Fury, yet another 700 potency AoE with 60% drop off. Gemshine will now be Topaz Right, and Precious Brilliance will now be Topaz Catastrophe. So this is where it gets a little different. Titan grants 4 stacks of Earth Attunement, which can be used for either Topaz Right or Topaz Catastrophe. Both of these skills do not have a cast time and will give you a buff called Titan's Favor, which is required to use for your Astral Flow equivalent. Astral Flow will be replaced by Mountain Buster, 150 potency AoE with 70% drop off. This means that you'll be alternating between Right or Catastrophe and using Mountain Buster as an off GCD. Summoner seems to be an extremely mobile caster. While Bahamut and Phoenix are very cool, having them stay in their fixed positions is a welcome change. This job is really too new for me to say anything, but man, it's been 3 years since I played Summoner and I guess I'm playing it again. Red Mage has received some interesting changes in Endwalker that aim to address some of the issues the job had in Shadowbringers while also adding in new elements. The most immediate change is that black and white mana values have been rescaled. The generation of mana and the mana cost of skills have been reduced. For example, the melee combo of Red Mage only costs 50 gauge to use now. This will help to add flexibility and give Red Mage more opportunities to adjust the timing of their melee combos. Along with this change, modification has been changed to give a fixed 50 black and white mana. It now has a 15 seconds duration and gives 6 stacks of modification. In addition, whenever you use modification, you get a charge of displacement and corpse of corpse or whatever the gap closer name is. But yeah, that's right, the gap closer and backstab now have 2 charges, adding more flexibility to their usage. Also, one thing to note is that for some reason, displacement and engagement both have the same potency. And speaking of charges, acceleration now has 2 charges as well. Embolden has been changed to boost all types of damage for your party. Besides that, there are also changes to how mana spenders work. Each time you use an enchanted melee skill, you gain a mana stack. When you have 3 stacks, you can use for Flare or for Holy. For the single target rotation, this has no difference when compared to Shadowbringers. However, the purpose of this change is for AoE, which allows red mages to use for Flare or for Holy after 3 hits of enchanted Molten Net? Whatever that one's called, I guess. For Flare, for Holy, and Scorch have also been changed to do AoE damage with a 60% drop off after the first target. In terms of new skills, for Thunder and Ver Aero have been upgraded into Ver Thunder 3 and Ver Aero 3. Red mages have also received a party mitigation skill called Magic Barrier that provides 10% party mitigation and 5% increased healing in an AoE around the red mage on a 120-second cooldown. Untargeted rate mitigation is always nice to have, and this increases the value of having a red mage in your party. The other new skill is the level 90 skill named Resolution. Resolution is a combo spell that can be used after Scorch, dealing AoE damage in a line with a 60% drop-off after the first target. Overall, Red Mage has received some very welcome changes. The job has big quality of life improvements and massively increased flexibility. The improvements to AoE are particularly notable, which should make Red Mage much better to play in dungeons. On the raid side of things, Red Mage has more utility than before by being able to bring raises, mitigation, and emergency healing. If you want to know more about the other jobs, there is a playlist in the description below. Alright, stay hydrated, drink water, water good, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!